We made it this far, and this is actually where the fun starts. We'll be creating our first fishlet and creating our first phishing engagement based on the Akira training lab. So let's jump right in. And first of all, what you want to do is open Evil Jinx. So essentially the easiest way to open Evil Jinx is using the build run bat command on Windows, because it will essentially build the binary and execute it right away. But you do not always have to do that. So let me show you what actually the script looks like. What it does, it will build the eviljinx.exe into the build directory and then execute it with the parameters that are specified as follows. So it uses the fishlets directory as a parameter, the redirectors directory name as a parameter, and then we have the developer and the debug parameters, which actually makes sure that developer will make EvilJinx run as a local installation so that it doesn't actually start the DNS server and all the other things that you will commonly see when remotely deploying EvilJinx. So this allows us to work it in a developer mode for creating fishlets and testing our fishlets on the local host. /debug actually provides us with some additional debug output that will come in handy when creating our fishlets. So let's just use the build run for simplicity, as it should be easier for us to follow the course that way. First things first, I wanted to show you that whenever you get stuck in EvilJinx and you have no idea what to do, there's always a help command. So type in help and it will show you essentially all of the commands that are available. And whenever you want to learn more about a specific command, then type in help space and type in the command name. So for example, let's type in help space fishlets, and it will give you all of the parameters that the fishlets command can take, all of the modes it can be put in, and what it can do. So this is actually a really helpful help system which is built into EvilJinx, which makes it very convenient whenever you get stuck. Additionally, when you get stuck with EvilJinx in this module or in any other module that follows, you can always open your web browser and actually use the website where I published full EvilJinx documentation. So type in help.eviljinx.com. And this is the website that I actually prepared to help you not get lost with everything related to EvilJinx. You can see everything is explained here from the ground up, so we can use it as an additional reference to this course. And what is most important, when we will be creating the fishlets, it's very important to know the fishlet format specifications. So when you open the fishlet format specifications, you have all of the information on how the fishlets are actually built, what they consist of, what every section of the YAML file does, and everything is explained in detail. So if I do not explain everything in full detail, you can find all the details, full details here on the website with the documentation. Okay. So I'm glad you made it this far, and let's jump right into creating our first fishlet. In this lesson, we will create our first fishlet. So first of all, before we even start creating a fishlet, we need to investigate the target website that we want to write the fishlet for. Fishlet is like a small script that is eaten up by EvilJinx, and it configures EvilJinx to know exactly how to reverse proxy the website that we want to target in our phishing engagement. So in order for the reverse proxy to work correctly, the fishlet has to be configured properly to make it work and allow us to capture the credentials and the authentication tokens. So first of all, let's open the web browser with our EvilJinx profile. Make sure all of our data, browsing data, are cleared. And then let's open the Akira lab, which is the first lab that we will be using for this purpose. Now, before you log in, let's open just right click anywhere on the website and click Inspect. This will open the Web Inspector tab in Chrome, which is extremely useful when actually analyzing all the HTTP requests and everything that's happening. What is the DOM of the website? What were the requests made? What are the JavaScript sources? You can even debug JavaScript if you need to. So essentially, this is everything we would ever wanted to prepare in creating our fishlet. So open first the network tab and make sure the preserve log checkbox is ticked. This will actually allow us to not lose any history of browsing as we go through the whole login process of testing the website. So here, the first thing we will do, we will just log in as normally as we would. So let's enter the same email and password that you have for your EvilJinx Training Lab account. Click login. Now, as we set up our account with multi-factor authentication, we also need to make sure to enter the token that will be generated to log in successfully. So we need to do the same thing. Then click submit, and that's basically it. So we go through the whole process of logging in, and now we analyze all of the HTTP requests that were made during this process. So first we see there was an HTTP request made to the login path of the website, which conveniently shows us that this was probably the packet that was sent with all the credentials that we want captured. And by analyzing it, we can see that there was also that the content type was www form URL encoded, which is essentially just a standard content type of any request made to any website that actually contains some user-defined input data. So when we click the payload tab here, we will see the contents of this payload packet. And here you can see actually clearly the email and the password that was sent. So that's great. This is everything we actually need. So right now we can start by creating our fishlet file. So first minimize the Chrome browser and open the Visual Studio Code that we have already installed. So you can open File and Open Folder and select our EvilJinx directory where we actually clone the GitHub repository into our hard drive, and then click Select Folder. And this will show you the whole structure of all the files on the left, and it will allow you easy access to any file that you want. So here you will find the fishlets directory, and this is where we will find the example fishlet that we'll use as a base to create our own fishlet for the Akira training lab. So first of all, open this, double click this YAML file and click Save As, and save it as akira.yaml. YAML extension is actually a a way to tell EvilJinx that we are using the proper structure of the file. You can look up YAML. It's a bit like, it's just a way to structure data in a file, similar to JSON, but just a different kind of format, which is a bit easier to read, especially when working with fishlets. So here you can see that now we have the Akira YAML opened, and you see the different sections of the fishlet file. So here you see what is the minimum version of the fishlet, what is the minimum EvilJinx version when the fishlet will run on. So in that, here you can see that 3.0 is the minimum version the fishlet is working on. Then you see the proxy host, and this is the list of all the domains that the website uses that we need to reverse proxy. Like the website may be using a lot of different subdomains. Essentially, we need to put in all of the domains that the website uses in order to not lose, to not have the web browser lose our reverse proxy session. So whenever the website actually redirects the user client browser to a different domain, we need to make sure that we configured EvilJinx to proxy that domain as well. Because otherwise, if it gets redirected to the legitimate domain, then we lose the proxy session because it is not using our fake phishing domain anymore, and we are unable to proxy the packets between the client and the server. So here, let's check what was the domain for the Akira lab. You can see that the request URL was actually made to hostname akira.lab.eviljinx.com. So let's copy this name. And put it into the domain parameter. And here actually is the good practice in creating fishlets is to leave the top level domain in the domain parameter, but use the subdomain in the fish sub parameter and original sub parameter. So this actually gives us a bit of flexibility later. You can see also that we have parameters, which is a session set to true. This means that this domain will contain the session cookie. And if it is a landing domain, so this means we set this to true for the host name that will be used for redirecting the visitor to the first landing page. So essentially we only have to support one host name. So we set this one as our primary domain and set the isLanding to true. The auto filter is set to true by default. It is actually something that I added long time ago, and you do not have to really worry about it. But in previous versions of EvilJinx, the EvilJinx would not automatically replace the